Now let's discuss that further with Tony Gosling, historian and investigative journalist, joining us from Bristol. Mr. Gosling, welcome. The European Commission has warned Israel against weaponizing aid. What does this tell us about the shifting tone in EU-Israeli relations, and how serious do you think this warning is in practical terms?
Well, firstly, I'd remind you that nobody on the European Commission is elected directly by the European population. These are appointees, so it's a kind of technocrat state, the European Union. Whether or not the Israelis will take this as a serious warning is difficult to fathom, because it seems that there is no teeth. There are no measures that the European Union are threatening to take against Israel. And all of the time that they are just words, then obviously it's nice to hear this, but one has to wonder, is there any intention to back this up with any action whatsoever? And it may simply be that the European Union is cynically saying this stuff for its own population to hear, and has quietly agreed with Israel, don't worry, we won't make any changes, you don't have to worry, this is just for us to get credibility amongst our own population. So the lack of aid, obviously, the destruction of the fellow human beings by Netanyahu and by the Israeli far-right bloc is an absolute aberration on planet Earth. There is no justification whatsoever for what they're doing. They will try and justify it. They will try and use their influence within the press around the Western world to make excuses, but the whole world can see what they're doing, which is a genocidal attack on, now we're looking at millions of Gazans right now are starving.
Absolutely. Mr. Gosling, the Commission criticized Israel's move to hand over aid distribution to private contractors and non-humanitarian actors. What does this reveal about Tel Aviv's strategy, and how might it affect international trust in those organizations?
Well, look, internationally, there's only one organization and one country, and that's the United States, that really can make a big difference here. I think maybe the United Kingdom, with its bit of its leverage, King Charles, could make some difference, but he's not. And let's remember that the United States spent $230 million on a pier in order to bring aid into Gaza, which they are not using. The Israelis have told them they don't want them to use it. I'm not sure if it's still just sitting there, a complete waste of money. And it seems as if money is no object. They're just throwing money away at pointless exercises. Look, let's cut to the chase. These are our fellow human beings here on planet Earth, and we cannot allow them to be starved and murdered in this way, as in this genocidal fashion. If the world community cannot get together and airdrop aid in some way, and make sure that water and food is available to these people, then the world community is worth absolutely nothing. And I think there are plenty of military personnel around the world, and I'm not just talking here about places in the Middle East. I'm talking about in Europe, and even amongst RAF personnel, who would be prepared to risk their lives to bring aid into Gaza right now, and really just literally show the Israelis that there are people out there who will stand up for their fellow humans. And so that has to be happening right now. And I cannot understand why the countries like Jordan and Britain that have been airlifting aid in are not doing it right now. We cannot allow these millions of people. We're talking now about something like 300,000 children are now starving. Get the aid in, and get it in right now.
Tony Gosling, historian and investigative journalist, joining us from Bristol. Thank you for your time tonight.